me get off this podium here. One more time, you know, talk about where we are, folks. We had a rally here 4 years ago, and was anybody here for that 4 years ago? Okay, good. Turned out pretty good. We won, and so that was great. Dave did a great job, and so we're back. And then the question gets to be, okay, so what's the story, right? Did you deliver the mail? And I think Mary's touched on it, but when you think about the numbers and you think about the people that are involved in the numbers, then you begin to understand the scope of it. So 350,000 people out of work. That's 3.5 times of Ohio Stadium walking out the gate without a job. And that is not just a devastating event for the person that loses their job, but it's a devastating event for the family, for the kids, for the spouse. Tough situation. And then at the same time, because we were losing all these jobs, we were losing all of our money. So we were $8 billion in the hole, which was the largest hole that Ohio had ever dug itself into. And our credit ratings, which are really important. You've seen them downgrade everybody else's credit. That means whenever you do anything, it costs you more money, and there's less confidence in your credit. And we all know what that means. So the credit was not in the right direction. So, you know, people said I came here, I said, well, we're going to balance the budget, and we're going to cut taxes. And people thought, well, you know, it's a chicken in every pot, right? I mean, just another one of these politicians. Only the people that I brought in with me, some of them were with me in Washington, and that was when we balanced the federal budget in 1997. That was the first time we had a balanced budget since man walked on the moon. So I knew it could be done, and let me just tell you how you do it. It's no different than what you do at home. So you got money coming in, right? And you got money going out, and you say, okay, well, we're going to have to figure this out. So you figure out what you don't absolutely need, and you also figure out things that you can do better. And in the process of doing it, you know, when you sit around the family table, you don't say, well, who's not going to like this? You just go and do it because you know it's necessary. And that's precisely the way that we've done it. I learned at a very early age that if people help you, if people support you, that doesn't affect what you have to do when you govern. You got to do what you got to do, and you got to be fair about it, because if you're not fair about it, then you're in a situation where you lose the high moral ground. And then people can't believe in you and they can't trust you. So we all got around the table. We came up with a lot of new ideas and new ways of doing things. And I'll just give you one good example. I think it was a week ago or 2 weeks ago that the 5,000th, try that one on, 5,000th person was able to move from a nursing home into their own home, where they're going to be more comfortable and a lot happier, okay? And that basically happened because we were in a battle, to be honest with you, with the nursing home industry. They had been able to get their reimbursements to a level that there wasn't much space for people at home. So I said, look, we need to have nursing homes, but we also need people to be able to be in their own home. The home health care is really important. And we got it done. And that has made a vast improvement over the way in which we operate health care in our state. We looked at all these things that were important, and we decided they were critical. You know, education, critical. So at the end of the day, we did all this, and because we started to balance a budget, something, in case you haven't noticed, governments are not that good at, and we also cut taxes, which is really hard to believe. Now, why do you cut taxes? Because it's like giving your car a recharge when the battery goes dead. The tax cuts give you stimulation, and there's another part of it. When the money's in your pocket and not in the government's pocket, that means we can run things from the bottom up, not from the top down. I'm a believer in bottom up, not top down, because You know, I didn't grow up here. I didn't grow up in Youngstown, but I grew up right across the line over there in McKees Rocks. And I'll tell you what we always believed is it's more important when we have power than if somebody doesn't get us has power. So we moved forward, and we started seeing the state come back. And now we are up almost 250,000 jobs. So people are now walking back in the stadium. And they're now filled that stadium just about 2.5 times. That means we still have work to do. Well, we have a lot of work to do in terms of getting people their jobs. But think about it, at the same time, it's pretty devastating. It's not pretty, it's very devastating when somebody goes home and says, I lost my job today. Think about what it's like when somebody goes home and says, I got a job today. You know, it's a fantastic situation. And that deficit that was $8 billion, we're now running $1.5 billion surplus, which is a $9.5 billion turnaround in the state of Ohio. And our credit is stabilized, and we went from, get this one, we were the 48th fastest job creator out of 50 states. How's that sound? Are you clapping for that? We were 48 out of 50. Can you hear that again? Let me try it one more time. Okay? People get bummed out when Ohio State loses to Virginia Tech, okay? We were 48 out of 50. There were only 2 states that were doing worse than we were. And now we're number 8 in the country in terms of job creation. Now you can clap. Okay? And just last week or 2 weeks ago, there was a survey of the states in America which have the best business climate, the best climate for people to create jobs. Of the 10 states, only 2 were located in the north. One was in Indiana, and the other one right here in Ohio, the Buckeye State. So our reputation across the country is growing, and in many ways our reputation in other parts of the world are growing because now we're starting to attract foreign investment and foreign companies. By the way, down in Columbus, no, I'm sorry, not in Columbus, but in Dayton, the Chinese are hiring 800 people and making a huge investment, the largest investment in America this year and one of the largest investments in America in the last decade. So stuff is coming back to us, which is really great to see as well. And we're going to do more of that. Now, the kind of jobs. We always were known as agriculture and manufacturing. We're still known as agriculture and manufacturing. It's part of our DNA. That's what it means to be a Buckeye. However, maybe you haven't noticed, but we have this new industry now called energy. Have you heard about this? Yeah. Now, because of the energy business, you can order a shrimp cocktail in Dave Johnson's place here. You know, you got a little extra money. So energy, and here's the thing about energy I want you to think about. It's not just the drilling that gets people working. The long term of this is really 2 things. One is industries that need to reduce their costs can tap into pipelines that are being built across the Ohio to get cheaper energy to run their plants. That's a big deal. And they're going to go some places where people are very hard-pressed to get work. That's number 1. Number 2, because of the type of material that we are producing here in Ohio, we have an opportunity for these really futuristic advanced materials, polymers, things that you just wouldn't believe. And this is in our future as well. We also believe in financial services. You know, we've got energy and banking. I mean, we've got so much of it. It's Chase's number 2 place in all of America is Ohio for locating their folks. We have logistics, which is really big, being able to move things. By the way, I know some of you were concerned when I was talking about the fact that we need to do something for the state with the turnpike. And people said, oh my God, there he goes. He's going to, you know, da-da-da-da-da. And so what did we do? We said we can borrow some money and pay it back from the tolls of the turnpike. We can improve the operation of the turnpike, and we will have an extra $1 billion to improve the entire state of Ohio so we can move stuff through this state. Now that it's passed and all these projects are going on, people say Kasich didn't have anything to do with it. It was my idea, right? That's the way it is in life. So this is really important. I think Mary mentioned the number of jobs that are connected to it. So when you see the orange barrels and you get stopped in traffic, thank the Lord that we're doing this, because people are working and the state is getting stronger, and that's really, really important to us. So all these things are really good, and people are noticing. Now, in addition to those industries I mentioned, Amazon is now investing $1 billion in Central Ohio to build data centers, which, I mean, these things have never happened in Ohio before. It's great. And things are happening all across the state. So we're in better and better shape. What do we need to continue to do? One, Mary runs everything. She's the head of the Department of Insurance. She runs the initiative to make sure we don't overburden business, and she's the lieutenant governor. The only thing she isn't is the general. I mean, she's got about every other job in the state, and she's done great at all of it. So we need to get our income tax down. Why? Have you ever been to Naples, Florida in the winter? Okay. You live in Naples, Florida. Yeah, thanks for inviting the rest of us to stay with you. Huh? You don't happen to be a Florida resident. Oh my, there it is. And you know, people are leaving Ohio to go to states that have lower income taxes. They go to Texas, they go to Florida, they go to Tennessee. You know, out of California, they got to put a fence up in California because everybody's leaving to go to Nevada now because the taxes are lower. So we need to make sure we get our income tax down. It holds us back. We also need to make sure that we're helping small business, and we've given small business very significant tax cuts because those are the businesses owned by the middle class, and that's where a lot of the middle class works. So we got to continue to do that. Then we have to train people for jobs that exist. Not just train people, but train them for something where they can get work. Now, for the students that are here, this fall, this November, every student will have access to a website that will tell them the jobs that are available in Ohio, not theory, available, what they pay, and how you get one. Because we want our students, when they get into community college or the four-year school, that they're being trained and given skills so they can get a good job, a good paying job, connected to one of these great industries. And in K through 12 education, we're starting to talk to kids about occupations in the early grades. What do you want to be? What are you thinking about? What would your biggest dreams be? Because we want these young people to be thinking about good jobs and why education's connected. You know, yesterday I went to I have two 14-year-old daughters. One has been invited to two homecoming dances, one at our school and one at another kid's school. The other one's been invited to a homecoming at our school. Would you pray for Dad that I can handle this over the next couple weeks, please, okay? You don't even want to know all the stuff I tell them. But my wife has put me on a need-to-know basis. So, but I went over to the school yesterday, and I went in to see the history teacher. And she was teaching, like, world culture, and she was teaching about Persia. And I said, well, you know, I think the way you need to do it is you need to make it relevant. Persians, by and large, live in Iran. And kids hear a lot about Iran. And why is it they don't like us? And why are we having all these problems? If you can start history from what happens today that we hear about in the news and then trace it back, it'll probably make more sense. It's the same thing with all education. If you can get kids excited about what they want to be, then education becomes easy. So we're trying to do it. And we put into play the third grade reading guarantee, so we're not socially promoting our kids so they feel good, but they don't have the skills to succeed and win. And that's a big change in the state as well. Folks, all of these things matter, but let me tell you what else we've done. And this is something that as Republicans, as conservatives, we ought to be proud of doing. When we do better economically and people are working and the revenue's coming in and things are going better, we got to help people that things aren't going well for. That's the way I was taught as a young boy. It's a sin not to help somebody that needs help, but it's equally a sin to continue to help somebody that needs to learn how to help themselves. But let's stay on the first part. For the first time since I've lived in this state, there is now a real effort and a number of resources to help those who have mental illness. I can't wait till mental illness is going to be recognized and respected the same way as a physical illness. We've made a lot of progress. But you have folks in your own family who have depression, who are bipolar, who are schizophrenic. Get them the right medication. And God bless the doctors and the companies that create these medications. They can live a normal life. But if they don't get the help, too much of the time, you know where we find them? Either sleeping on the street or being housed in one of our prisons. We're helping those people in this state now because the local communities have more resources to help them. We're helping those people who are drug addicted. This is a horrible thing. I've just thought about this the other day. Anybody here ever smoke and quit? Are there any former smokers? How many times did it take you to quit?
None.
Right away? First time?
First time.
Well, you live in Florida. It's your first time. You're an odd guy here. How many times? Cold turkey. How about you?
I quit 1,000 times.
1,000 times. Who else here? Huh? How many times? Twice. You failed the first time and you failed twice, and then you finally got it. Think if you have an addiction. Folks, I know many of you this would be alien to. But I have this couple that I go to my church with. He works for Monsanto. They live in a big house. They're beautiful people. Their son went down to Ohio State, got into prescription drugs, got addicted. They cut back the prescription drugs, and now he's a heroin addict. And if you met this kid, good-looking, charismatic, smart, see, I'm a believer that we have an obligation to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. That's part of what the good Lord has passed on to us as human beings. Same with the working poor. Now, at the same time we're doing that, we also want to transform our welfare system so that we can get people to work by changing the incentives, giving them the training, and working with businesses to get them work. But here's what I'm trying to say to you, a couple other things. For the first time, we're giving families who have children who are autistic coverage so they don't get bankrupted. We're helping people who have children who are developmentally disabled to be able to work in a place like Dave's Restaurant. See, to me, the roadmap for government and the roadmap for people is as we get more successful. And if we don't create the jobs, if we don't have the environment where people want to expand their businesses, Dave's doing so much better in his business, the tile business. If we're not doing that, it's sort of like when mom and dad don't have any money and they want to support the kids, but they can't because they don't have anything. The same is true with government. When we're doing better as a state, then we got to reach out and help a lot of other people and leave no one behind. To me, this is a roadmap for the way that America ought to be run. This is a way that our country ought to be functioning so everybody can be hopeful again. Everybody can see that the sun is going to rise again. And we're doing it here. And we're so much better off. I love the walk. I ride down the streets in these cars. I don't even know where I am half the time because they're taking me from one community to another. And as I'm riding from one to another, I see signs in the windows of these stores. And you know what it says? Hiring. We need workers. You know, isn't it a fantastic thing to see? So, folks, just two more things, because I don't want to go on here forever. Two more things. And the last one is the election. Here's the first one. We need to be involved in our communities again. Sonny, you and your wife have great values. Hard work, discipline, respect for your elders. What are you laughing about? He's a young man still, you know. No, I mean, seriously. You know, ethics, integrity, nobody here is going to be sainted that I know. Well, maybe, certainly not you, Commissioner. Okay? But here's the thing. We all have an obligation to help somebody else and pass these values on. You ever read in the paper? I'll tell you what I read in the paper. How does somebody beat up their wife on a Tuesday and be making $1 million on Sunday playing football? I mean, what? I mean, what is this all about? Money? Is this all about? I mean, it's not who we are. So for those of us, which are the people here tonight, who feel strongly about the way our kids and our grandchildren and even our brothers and sisters feel about life, we got to transfer these values to them. We're running a big effort now to be in the schools, to get you in the church community, the business community, into the schools to mentor our kids. It makes a difference. To mentor them, to guide them, to teach them. Because some of them don't have anybody who cares about them. It's a great opportunity for us as a political party and a movement to take back our communities. I mean, don't you all feel an erosion of these kind of fundamental values? It doesn't have to be this way if we want to jump in. In Cincinnati, the Cincinnati public schools have a graduation rate of 65%, but a school inside of that system where business leaders go 1 hour a week, business people, workers, 1 hour a week for a year, the graduation rate in mentoring and tutoring those kids, the graduation rate is 97%. That's what we can do if we want to put ourselves into it. So folks, a lot of stuff cooking. Now we got an election 41 days away. We've worked hard. When we were here 4 years ago, we made promises. I think we have fulfilled them, Dave. Haven't we? Say yes, Dave. Say yes, Halleck. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Okay. Are you running this year, Halleck? I am. Really? Who's that stand next to you? Is that your wife?
That's Judge Rob. She's running too.
Well, let me tell you, we got to get out for Judge Rob. Forget Halleck, okay? He's not that. Look at that man, huh? The fact of the matter is that, look, can you do us a favor? Take a sign home. If you live in a condo, you know, these condos have these rules that you can't put signs up. Put the sign up and pay the fine for good old John Kasich, okay? We got bumper stickers. Now, I know what people worry about bumper stickers. If I put them on my car, it'll pull off the paint. Tough. Put the bumper sticker on, okay? We'll paint the car after the election. Would you please grab your folks and go out and vote? Because I've got to tell you, we can send a message to the whole country. It's worth it. You know, I didn't get in this business just to hold another public office. I'm in here to try to change things, and it's changing. The same with Mary. Dave Johnson, in the middle of struggles with his business, has always believed that the political system can help to make things better. Right, Dave? And stronger. Please go out and vote. Get your neighbors. Get your sons, your daughters. I don't care. Go to church. Tell them to get out there and help us. Because I'd like to send a message across the country, and along with these fine people that are running, that the better we do, the better everyone does, and the better message we send to the country, Ohio rises. And that's what we're all in for. And as we rise, we help fix the country. Beautiful night. God bless you all. Thanks for letting us be here.
Great.